Hello and welcome to the OWC instructional series of videos. In this installment, we'll be adding a second drive to an early 2011 13-inch MacBook Pro using the OWC data doubler. We've gathered our materials, shut down the MacBook Pro, and placed it on a soft, static-free work surface. We are now ready to begin. The first step is to close the MacBook Pro and flip it over. There are 10 Phillips screws we need to remove. The 3 on the upper right are longer than the others, so remove those first. You can now remove the remaining 7 screws, which are all the same size. Once the screws are removed, you can lift the bottom cover off. We'll need to remove the optical drive, which is located here. First though, we'll need to disconnect the battery connector, which is located here. Use your nylon pry tool to gently lift the connector free from the logic board. Once it's disconnected, we can then safely remove the optical drive. Using your nylon pry tool, detach these 3 data cables. The first screw we need to remove is located here. To get at the second screw, we first need to loosen this module by removing these 3 screws. Once you've done that, gently pull the module back to reveal the second optical drive screw, which can then be removed. Finally, remove the last optical drive screw, which is located here, along the outside edge of the MacBook Pro. Gently move this cable back, then lift the optical drive out of the bay using your nylon pry tool if necessary. Be careful not to snag on any cables while pulling the drive out. We need to remove the SATA connector and the mounting bracket from the optical drive so that we can use them on the data doubler. You can remove the SATA connector by simply pulling it off. Then, remove the 2 Phillips screws holding the mounting bracket into place. You can now set the optical drive aside. You can install any standard or solid-state 2.5-inch SATA hard drive in the data doubler. In this installation, we're using an OWC Mercury Extreme Pro SSD. Line up the SATA connector on the data doubler with the SATA connector on the drive you wish to install, and slide the 2 together. Secure the drive to the data doubler at these 2 points using the 2 thicker screws that came with the data doubler. Next, line up the SATA connector on the data doubler with the connector on the SATA cable and slide the 2 together. Next, place the mounting bracket in the same position as it was on the optical drive and attach it with the 2 Phillips screws. The data doubler is now ready to install. Carefully slide the data doubler into place, making sure no cables or tabs get pinched underneath. Use one of the original optical drive screws to reattach the rear bracket. Next, pull back this module and use one of the thin Phillips screws that came with the data doubler to attach the corner under the module. Once that's done, secure the module back into place. The two longer screws go into the left two holes, while the smaller screw goes on the right. Use another of the thin Phillips screws that came with the data doubler to secure the last point here. Finally, reattach the three data cables by lining them up with their connectors on the logic board and gently pushing them into place. You can now reattach the battery and replace the bottom cover. Reattach the bottom screws starting with the longer three in the upper right corner. Then, replace those 7 remaining screws. You may now flip your MacBook Pro over, open it up, and turn it on.